think I'm all set. Last time I didn't know I was streaming. It looks good now. All right. Get out of here. All right. Okay, cool. So it would be helpful for anyone who comes on to tell me if you can hear me or not, or how well you can hear me, I guess is a better way to say it. I might have to turn up my gain. It's very windy and snowy outside right now, and there's a lot of strange noises going on, so. Okay, here we go. I had this experience yesterday, and I started talking about this on Instagram stories, and I was just going ham. So I thought that maybe it would be a good idea to talk about it here. I'm a little like brain fog today, so we'll just have to deal with that, but hopefully this is helpful to some people. Essentially, I have this aspect of my personality, which isn't necessarily bad or anything, but it certainly doesn't always work for me, and I have to consciously be aware of like this is part of my personality and work with that, you know, like bring the good out of it and not let the bad part like affect me. And what that is for me is that I get very excited. If I'm excited about a project, if I have a new idea, if the energy is right for whatever reason, I have this type of brain. I think it's tied potentially to or can be related to the fact that my moon is in Aries. But essentially, when I'm starting a project, when I have something I'm excited about, I get really excited and I have all this energy like a rocket to like fiery, like take off towards something. Hello, hi guys. And that's awesome when you can work on the project, when it's working for you and you're like, okay, cool, I'm in it. But if you can't do anything, or, you know, eventually it can just become excessive and become uncomfortable. It's like, feels like to me like having too much coffee. So we think sometimes that, you know, like how could you have too much creative energy? Like how could you have too much energy to get something done? But, you know, sometimes it can be too much. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I'm trying like live for like the more like discussions like this, so that I don't have to put these in my videos so much, and then everybody can, you know, pick and choose what works for them. Thank you guys. Thank you. So I'm gonna lose my track like a billion times. That's just my nature right now. My brain is like whoop, not so not so clear. But yesterday I was working on something. I got really excited about it. I passed it off because it's like a joint project. I passed it off, and now I have to wait. And I was like feeling like really excited, getting all these ideas and everything. And it just was becoming uncomfortable since there was nothing I could do and I could feel it. You know, it was like I said, like too much coffee or something. And recently I was gifted this like really gorgeous pink Lemurian quartz point. And I've been really loving it, like really, really connected to it. So I ended up grabbing it while I was feeling like that, like while I was feeling this like excess energy. Hello. And essentially took my dominant hand, which I'm a righty, so my dominant hand, put the crystal in it. I put the more flatter point. It's almost double terminated, you could kind of say, but you know, this is like the flatter point and this is the major termination. Put the flatter point to my palm and just like allowed that energy to like flow into the crystal, like set an intention for that excess to be put into this crystal so that I can use it for a different time. These things, not even just like Lemurian, but like any quartz can essentially be used like a USB or a hard drive or even a battery. So I find that they're very, very helpful for any type of excess energy. And I'm going to talk about like the chakras like being overactive, like as we move on a little bit. But you can put like anything into one of these. I know it sounds like really bizarre, but it's certainly possible. I do it all the time, and it's just like, it's so cool. Like, it's just fun too. Like, it might just be fun to play with and see if it works for you, if you like it. So you basically would get like a quartz point, put your intention and put the energy into it, and you're intending to save it for later. Sorry if I didn't say that correctly before. So what I ended up doing the next day, or later that night even, I was just drawn to, like, it's still, the moon is still very full right now. You could say there's certainly a lot of energy going on. And I was just like, you know what, I'm going to keep working with the moon. I'm going to light a little chime candle and just like have a tiny little like ceremony for myself. I got an orange chime candle, essentially like took the energy, took the battery or whatever, and touched it to the candle and just like intended for some of the energy to go into the candle. So essentially what I'm trying to get across here is that we can use these points they're very helpful to have with you throughout your day, because excess love, excess creativity, excess intuition, being too open, any of your chakras and essentially being too over energized can be very effectively combated by using that energy to store for another time. So it's like not wasted, or I guess you wouldn't say it's not wasted, but it's not, it's put to good use, I guess is like a nice way to say it. Hey guys. Oh, cool. Thank you guys. I'm glad you checked out my Instagram stories. So when any of the chakras becomes over energized, for example, and I may have shared this before, but you'll hear it again. When the heart is too overactive, that it sounds like how could you be too loving? Like how could you have too much love? How could your heart chakra be over energized and that be a bad thing? But what happens in that case is that we put all of the things that are important to us and all the needs that we have aside, and we're not being guided by our heart. Instead, we're kind of like letting other people's hearts guide our heart, because we're just like drawn to people, or we're just like in this like giving too much, not receiving, not like being in your own person, in your own things or whatever, in your own self, in your own desires, and being in touch with that. You're instead just kind of like letting them go and doing something for someone else, like as a service or for whatever reason. But it's excessive selflessness, I guess is a way to like put it into words. And that is not a good thing. You're not going to be guided to fulfill the life that you want. You're not going to be guided to your dreams and desires if you can't hear your heart communicate to you what those are. So that is why like excess love or that chakra being over energized would be a problem. And if you felt that way, it would be helpful for you to focus. Like I would put my receptive hand on my heart and hold on to the quartz point and intend for that excess energy to flow into and store into something like this. Quartz comes in all different shapes. Like I have some teeny tiny quartz points here. Like, so you don't have to have like some big expensive one or anything. You can also get like tumbled stones, but the reason I would not prefer a tumbled stone is that if you want to send energy when you're using crystals, it's very helpful to have a termination. It's not like you couldn't do it with this, but it's just that these are so directional that like they just make more sense to me, and they're not that hard to get your hands on either. Hello. Sorry guys, I'm not like saying hello to you guys. It's hard because like I use this like OBS thing, and then over here I have like the chats and they like cover each other, but like I need to make sure that like you can see me and all that. So I kind of like have to like choose them, right? Okay, so I'm gonna get back to what I was talking about. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about the chakras now and give you an idea of what you might be feeling if any of them are overactive, and how you might be able to use that energy for good, I guess is a way to say it. So I'll start with the root. When the root is over energized, we typically see people, or we typically manifest in people who are, I'm not going to answer the questions now. I'll like go through them later if I still have time. Okay. Sorry. I just like, I'm too scatterbrained. Like I have to like get this out first. See, I lost where I was. So when the root is overactive, that's typically when it will manifest in feelings such as like fight or flight. Like, so it's like fight, like right away. Like anybody says something wrong to you, it's like, oh, like, what did you just say? Like, what did you say to me? Like, seriously? Like, you're kind of like ready to snap. Have like excess anger could be something that builds up. So using that as the upside to it, when it's in excess, like that's when that happens. It's starting to burn, or it's getting too hot, or it's just like, going beyond like the point of comfort. Thank you guys. I love all the hearts and everything. Thank you. So the good part about the energy of the root chakras is it's very supportive, it's very protective, it's very grounded. So it would be helpful for you to put that excess, intend for this excess to come out, to be stored for later, and then use it when you want to feel grounded, or in a ritual that involves some kind of grounding or protection or physical vitality or something along the lines of that. For the sacral chakra, which is the one that I have the most over-energized the most often, is the downside to that, or like when it starts to become overactive, is you feel kind of manic. You feel very like up and down emotionally, but like to the extremes, and it's like you catch yourself being like, what the heck? Like, why am I? Well, hopefully you catch yourself. If you're lucky, you catch yourself being like, what is with this up and down? Like this kind of like manic thing. Like, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't make sense. It can certainly, like in my case, it's more to do with like getting very creative ideas. So not all of this comes from, I don't know, like bad things, like it doesn't all come from anger, like with like how it relates to the root chakra. It can also just be like very, very grounded, like so much so that it's like too much grounding though, and you're unable to connect maybe like on a more spiritual level, or listen to your intuition because it's not like logical and it doesn't make sense to you, or I don't know, something like that maybe. But for the sacral chakra, I also, I feel like very excited when I'm doing something creative sometimes, like especially at the very beginning. Like I just get like super, super, super excited. It's bad though because it's uncomfortable. So again, you can like put that creativity. Joy is also another one. Like, I know it sounds like, how could you have too much joy? But you can come to a place where like you don't feel comfortable anymore. And that's how you'll know. If you listen to that part, like your comfort zone, your comfort level, that's how you'll know whether it's beyond what is right for you, or, if you're like at a good place, or even too low, like if you don't feel creative at all, if you don't feel grounded at all, that would tell you that your chakras potentially are too low and you might want to look into it. And you could even store certain ones to like charge other ones too, I guess. I mean, that would be kind of complicated. You'd probably have to have like a point for each chakra or something, but it is possible, I guess. So for the solar plexus, that comes out in excessive independence, like an excessive need for independence. So much so that it's like that ego kind of like tense, brash maybe is like a good way to say it, or harsh, like rough around the edges kind of energy. But it can be very good to feel independent, but you can see how like, there's good and bad in both of them. So putting that confidence, and also it's very action based, the solar plexus. So you can put that when you need to tap into being able to carry something out, whether that be like work, or, actually doing the work for the project later, or whatever the case may be for you. The heart we talked about, the throat, that being excessive. It's like, it can be sometimes, I'm trying to think of the best way to say it, saying things in a way that it's negative, but like you're kind of tricking yourself into it being positive, or that's not the best way to say it. When you're saying things, but they are negative, but you feel like you're speaking your truth, like that whole like speak your truth thing, but it comes out and it's like, this is how it is. This is this. Or it could be how you perceive it as well. See, the throat has to do with the words that you say, how you interpret what is said to you, but also your internal dialogue. This is like the logic kind of zone, and the inner thoughts kind of zone as well, where you kind of think this would be your thoughts. And I mean, I'm sure you could look at it that way. Like I'm not saying there's like a right or wrong necessarily, but from my understanding and how I work with it, this is more of like a visual thing, whereas this is more of what we hear, what we kind of like run through our head in those like actual words. It can be singing a song that like has like lyrics that aren't positive for you to keep singing all the time, like the freaking like all my friends are dead or whatever, like not necessarily the best thing for you to keep saying over and over again. Okay. Thanks, guys. I'm sorry that I'm like not reading your thing. I'm just trying to get this out. I hope you understand. I'm in my moon time. If you guys ladies know, I'm in moon time and my brain is just like very foggy. So then we're moving on to, okay, so that could be, you know, putting the excess in. If you feel like it's too much, if it's too brash, if you're like, you know, harsh, not being received well, like you feel like whenever you talk to people, it just comes out wrong, or people are like turned off to it. It's just like hard to handle. That can be a sign that the throat is overactive. And it could be internal as well, like your own thoughts are too hard for you to handle. You'll feel discomfort. Putting that in for times when you want to be creative, when you want to use it in a positive way. If you have a video you could be recording live and you want help communicating because you seem to be having a problem, that would be very helpful for me to have right now. For the third eye, that's typically like overactive, trying to see too much into the future, trying to plan, trying to understand like the how, what, where, why. For example, when you're trying to manifest something and you know what you want, and you know that to manifest, you should just think about what you want. Don't necessarily stress over the how it's going to come to you. Like that will come into place and you will take action, but it's got to be more of just like knowing what you want really is what you truly have to focus most of the energy on. But your overactive third eye might be like, well, what about this? When is that going to happen? And it's like trying to like give you like too much information and just narrowing the tunnel for like the universe to actually get something to you. But putting an energy like that into something that you can store for later, you can use that to become more intuitive when you want to tap into the intuition and stuff. And then the crown being overactive, that will make you feel kind of spacey. It might make you feel like migraines potentially, or something like going on with your head. It can mess up your dreams and make you feel like your dreams are influenced or too not protected, I guess is a way to say it. That can certainly happen, but it's a great spiritual connection too. So you're kind of going beyond, you know, so it'd be good to put that extra in and then use it at a time. So I hope that helps. And I'm sorry that I'm like stumbling on my words so much today. And I already talked about this, but to use this energy in like a little ritual later for yourself, you know, like let's say you want to empty your USB crystal or whatever, and you just get a candle, you put the candle in your pulling hand, your receptive hand. For me, that's my left hand, and then the stone in the dominant hand, and just send the energy into it. Like close your eyes, see it like in your mind, like in whatever that, you know, manifests for you, to like filling up the candle like a do, you know, like a little battery or a just charging it, you know. So that's how I would do it. All right, so I'm just gonna look at your guys' questions, and hopefully that was helpful. I'm sorry that I'm like a goof right now. Okay. Oh, right. So I'm going to start making these into necklaces. Not this one, because this one is actually like very special and it was a gift, and I don't even know where I would get these at like I don't like deal with dealers in this usually. But I want to create like the necklaces that I typically make, like very similar style, but I want it to be like more of a pouch so that you can carry a stone like this with you, because it would be so helpful to have a point with you while you're out and about in your day. Sorry, I'm just like gonna grab one. Here I have like another one. So if it was in a pouch, I would typically suggest to store it with the pointy going up, so that if you're like wearing it, it's going like this. Jewelry a lot of times has the point going down, and while that's not a bad thing, but like I'm just so into like polarity therapy and like the way the energy moves, and the fact that like it is directed by things. I would prefer to have the point going up, so it's more of a generator and less of a drawing energy out. You know, that would be helpful. You can certainly put a good intention into a crystal that's pointing down and like, you know, keep negativity away from you, or to, I guess, to ground you maybe. But personally, I just really, I work with crystals, so like I'm kind of like uptight about it a little bit. I would like to have it up. So that's why I want to create this pouch that you can like put it in, and it has like a little base. And I think I would just put like string at the top to tie it in like a little bow or something, but I'm gonna have to play around because I've never really made one of those before that didn't have a bead, and I want to try to avoid the bead because the beads are hard to get the right size. Honestly, I always like have a problem with that. Okay, sorry, I lost my questions. I'm just going down, scrolling through. Oh, could you guys tell me if you can hear me okay? If it's too loud or too quiet. It's super noisy outside. There's like plow trucks and windiness going on, so okay. Okay. I have a weird question. How does it feel when you come across a client with an underactive, overactive chakra? Sometimes they feel heat. My Dreamwork systems are like vacuum sensation. For me, I typically first sense it as a dip. So like, let's say I'm like scanning someone's aura with my hand, just kind of like push and feel around. And if it's underactive, I typically like my hand just seems to fall like into it. Like there's much less resistance. Or if it's overactive, it might feel like a heat for me. I might feel like actually like a pain in my head, like in the place, like not significant, like hardly even noticeable, but like little like pains, like phantom pains. That can sometimes be it for me. Sometimes I feel the heat, that is one of it too. Okay, great. Thank you guys. Sorry, it's like it's new and I haven't messed with the settings too much, and I'm just like, how could I have got it like the best, like right off the bat? Awesome. Cool. Okay. Oh, cool. I'm glad you guys would be interested, or, you don't have to be interested in the necklaces. I'm still going to make them. That's not exactly why I came here, but I just thought it was like a good idea. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm kind of going to use my creative energy for that since I can't put it to this project right now. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's like a good idea. Like I like the whole generator aspect of like having it with you. And the experience that I had yesterday of like letting this like excess that like can be so uncomfortable for me to like just like flow into this like crystal was just so relaxing. Like I'd say it was like 3 minutes and I was like way more calm, like so calm that I could just meditate and like not have a million thoughts racing through my head, not be like planning and like hearing things and just like that idea, that like crazy idea thing that happens. I don't know if you guys get that. If any of you have like a moon in Aries, you might be prone to that. Aries just is like a very good starting energy. It's like a rocket. Like it won't get you to the finish line, but it's like that takeoff kind of point. And I've started so many projects in my life because of this. So learning to work with it, learning to have patience, especially when I'm working with someone else, because it's like most of the projects I work on with other people, I do some work, then they do some work on it, then I do some work on it. And it's not just where we're like both all working together at one time or anything like that. So I have to be patient when it's like, okay, like you can't do anything right now. You're going to have to chill or just find something else to do. Okay. What crystal stones do you recommend for boosting mental focus and awareness? Fluorite. Fluorite is the best stone for mental stuff for me. It's just very clear thinking, like very clarity of thoughts. You just feel like you navigate your day so much better. Like your decisions are just like so easy to make. So I would definitely suggest fluorite for that. Okay. Fluorite's great for like schoolwork too. Oh, I'm glad you still feel the energy from them. They're awesome. Like when I send out crystals to people, I take a lot of time to like charge them. So I hope that I'm always like, I hope you enjoy the vibes, I hope that you feel it. Okay. What would you say to the skeptics about the use of Reiki? My friend circle is really wary of it. I would love to provide some convincing arguments. You know what? The thing is, I mean, I'll tell you, but the thing is, you can't convince people, and it's not your job to. And I wouldn't even suggest trying, because it's like I don't advertise for my services because I'm not here to sell people Reiki. I get approached, like I do put myself out there. Like I put my website and what I do, in my videos and stuff. So if somebody does want to look into it, but I'm never going to convince someone who doesn't want to, be open to it, that it's going to work for them, or that it's real, or anything like that. And I wouldn't want to. Just like I'm not going to convince someone to, stop smoking, or to give up alcohol, or, that running is bad for them if they love running. You can't really change people's minds. That's up for them to do. Maybe they'll come around to it. But you can't really do anything like that. So I don't say anything to the skeptics. I don't. I'm just like, like, okay, like I do my thing, you do your thing, and I don't even really communicate on it. It's not like usually something I bring up. Yeah, fluorite, like fluoride, but fluorite. They have many different colors. They're gorgeous. The raw pieces are stunning, but typically a bit more pricey. But there's lots of tumbled ones available in all different colors. Okay, is that it? Am I good? Sorry. I hope I got all the questions. Okay, I'm going for my first Reiki session, and I'm wondering if it's just, what do I do, or bring anything with me ahead of time? Is the best way to help? Wear comfortable socks, wear a comfortable outfit, and be prepared to take off your shoes. So wear like cozy, comfortable socks. I feel like I've certainly had clients in the summer who like come after work and like they won't wear socks, and you can tell they're like, oh my god, you're gonna touch my foot maybe, like my feet are gross. So just like wear socks and be like comfortable in your own skin. I know that sounds really easy, but that's what I would say first, just like in your clothes. I mean, not your skin necessarily. And it's helpful to let them know what's going on. Like you don't have to give your Reiki practitioner like tons of information, but if they have some area, this kind of goes both ways. I'm kind of going to contradict myself. It's nice to give them something that you feel is going on, but they will be open to checking to find out exactly what is going on, or much more clearly what is going on. For example, many times I have a client who tells me that they lost their creativity, or they don't have creative energy, or that they're not grounded, or that, something along those lines. Like they'll think they know exactly what's going on, and they might know how it's manifesting for them. Certainly, absolutely, they're the best ones that will know that information. But on an energetic level, the Reiki practitioner is probably going to find where the real issue is. So for example, let's say the person does have a perfectly well-balanced and even maybe becoming excessive creative center, and that's why they feel this need and this awareness to be creative. But the problem might lie in the throat chakra, which is where expression actually comes from, or even the solar plexus, where, action would come from, or working between those two. If there was a blockage or a lull in either of those, then that creative energy wouldn't be able to come out. So, what I was trying to say basically is just give them as much information as how you feel, but be open to what they say, they find on an energetic level. And at the same time, be open to rejecting what they say. Like I always try to make sure that my clients know this is my opinion, but like by all means, like I'm not trying to tell you what to do. This is just like the best advice I feel I can offer. And if they take it, then that's up to them. It's not like a forceful thing. I am a massage therapist and I get my clients' energy too much. How can I avoid this? That's definitely challenging for massage and for like facials too, and cosmetologists and stuff. Even hair salons, like hair artists can pick up other people's energy a lot. Do you use, I would say like first, if you're using any stones, if you're wearing a silver necklace or anything like that might be deflective. Silver is very deflective, as is gold. Or having a stone that's grounding and protective that will create a barrier around your aura enough to like keep other people's out. But whatever you have of that, like some type of sacred adornment, I would suggest, because, you know, I'm imagine, you know, you have something you have to wear for the massages or something, or the places I go anyway, or I don't really get them that often, honestly, but typically I have like comfortable outfits on too. So if there was earrings or just something that you could have on you, to put an intention for it to block you. And what that will do is not only, you know, send energy to the thing that you have on, but it will talk to your subconscious. It will communicate to your subconscious that you're not picking up their energy. There's a barrier between you and it will not pick it up. And that has a lot to do with it, you know, like how we interact and what the message that our subconscious picks up. So I would suggest having a thing, like this is my thing, you know, this is my protective thing. This is my, you know, I'm a great massage body worker, but I'm, you know, not picking up anybody's energy. Just like let that thing know, say it, and then your subconscious will pick it up and do the majority of the work for you. Where did I get my channel name? Well, it's kind of like the work name that I go by, Lune Innate. It kind of sounds like illuminate or illumination or something, but for me it means like the light within, kind of like lune, moon. Obviously, like I'm a Cancer, and most of us, you know, we've always kind of been drawn to the moon, many of us through centuries. So I went with something like that. But then innate is like, you know, your inner ability, your inner knowledge, your inner knowing that's like already there. I love crystals, but I have no physical response from them. Why not? It's not a physical response. It would be an energetic response that you'd be picking up. The only time you get a physical response from a crystal necessarily, I mean, in my experience anyway, would be if you were like using it to relieve pain. Like, for example, when I get cramps, I'll have a nice big rose quartz and I'll just kind of like rest it over like my sacral area. And I do feel pain relief from that. And like a blue lace agate, if I have a sore throat, if I just like meditate and rest, I do feel some relief. You know, it's not like taking a Advil liquid gel or anything, but I do feel like relief from it. Other than that, if you're working with stones, many of us will feel a buzz sometimes or a grounding. We're not feeling a physical thing, though. We're feeling an energetic thing. So if you kind of like switch your mind gears to working on an energetic level, then maybe you'd be more open to feeling something from a different sort of sense than physical sense. Excuse me. Okay. I just gave myself a facial, so like my cheeks are very red, but I also have a red light on. Grounding for empaths, like how an empath can be grounded. An empath needs to keep talking to themselves to like boost themselves up. And just like with we talked about with like assigning something, letting your subconscious know, hey, this is taken care of. We're not picking this up. We're actually very grounded, and we're not going to be disturbed by anyone else's energy necessarily. That's how I would work with empathy. But I mean, grounding for empaths is the same as grounding for anyone else. Okay. How do you use a Shiva Lingam? Just like you would use any crystal. You could hold it in your hand, meditate with it. Hey, Chloe. Or something like that. It's just the shape of it is more energizing and has a masculine energy. Yeah, well, it's not going to be outside. We're not going to be outside to do Reiki for a long time, probably. We're in like the snowiest day yet. But I'd love to do that more this summer and spring. Okay. Do you feel a connection when you perform Reiki? You've technically done Reiki on 1,000 people. Thanks. I do get a sense, you know, when it's general, when I'm just making a video for YouTube, I do get a sense of the collective energy of the group. I know that sounds really weird. Sometimes I'll feel like there's just like an area that many people maybe need to work on, so I'll kind of like point it out in the video. Like even my last video, I think I can remember, like everything felt pretty good until I got to like a certain point. I couldn't remember. I don't remember which place it was, but like I was feeling like, oh, this feels like good. And then I was like, oh, I hit a spot. And then I like worked on that. So I don't know how exactly, but I feel just the majority, I guess, is like the only way I could say that. Do I feel a connection when I perform Reiki on an individual? Like, absolutely. It's working in someone's energy, and I 100% feel a connection to it. How do you make Reiki last? I feel like I have work on my balance constantly, or I get emotionally unstable. Well, Reiki is going to balance you, but you're going to learn how to balance yourself. Reiki is not going to like solve anything like that. It helps as a reset. It helps to process things when you're working on something, to let it flow through you, but it's not going to keep you balanced. That's something that you're going to have to look within yourself and identify, what is causing this? Like, where's the root here, and address it. You could do that through like Dreamwork. If you don't know where to start, you could do it through doing yourself, or getting tarot readings, or something to kind of like point you in the right direction. Once you just are open to receiving, like, hey, what's going on, things will start to like stick out to you and like give you some signals along the way. So just become on a quest of sorts for how you're going to help yourself to work through the balance or the emotional instability. Okay, which chakra would you say is out of balance or overactive? If your words come up too harsh, but you have only good intentions. That, I would say, would be your throat chakra. And that's a good way to say it. Like, it's like, not that you're meaning to be rude, but it's just like, it's not received properly. Like, it's not the right combination of inflections, or like the way you say something to be received, and you have to like come at it from a different way. I would suggest chrysocolla would be a good stone for that. What would I recommend for accessible crystals for beginners? I would go with quartz, like clear quartz, smoky quartz, rose quartz, amethyst, and citrine. Those would be the ones that I would start with. Sorry, I'm like... I vomit from stress, so can you recommend crystals, please? I would say something that makes you feel not stressed. Like, I get chalcedonies in general. Jaspers are very helpful with stress, so I'd try something like that. Okay. You've had people that could read properties by holding them. Well, that's intuition. That's not feeling something. Like, it's not like a physical thing. You can hold a stone and you will know what it's for in a way. So let's say I have this big piece here. Let's say I got this new stone and I wanted to use it. What I would typically do, especially when I was very first starting, or even into it a bit, or even still I do this, I'll lay down, because I like to meditate laying down. I'm a cozy person. I like blankies. And I would take this stone, even if it's green and you think like, oh, well, it has to go on the heart. But I would take the stone and hold it over myself and drag it down slowly, and pay attention to what sensations I feel in my body, or energetic sensations, I guess is a better way to say it. And just kind of like drag it slowly down, like where the 7 primary chakras would be. And you'll just get a feeling like where it wants to go. It could be your shoulder, it could be a point, a chakra point, but you'll feel like a kind of buzz, or just something of an intuitive sign, like, oh, this is where it goes, this is where it's going to be best served, or best to work with things. If you're wanting to be creative or feeling blocked, that's probably, again, the throat chakra, for expression. How do you store your crystals to keep them protected and charged? I store them by any means necessary. I have bowls full of them. I have boxes full of them. I have them on every flat surface in my room. I have them on my walls. I have so many that like I don't really have like a means yet until I get a wall made out of entirely shelves to like keep them like in the moonlight or something like that. I don't even think that would be possible. But so what I do to keep them just cleansed and charged is I'll smudge them, like maybe not every day, but I'll smudge them like I'll go around my room and use like a little feather and like blow, like let the smoke go onto them. Or I will use sound, because I am very often making noises in my room with some type of instrument, or singing bowls or chimes or something. So I'll intend for them to be cleansed with sound, and I'll give them all like a little sound bath or something. That's usually the easiest way. I wouldn't worry about which ones are touching. People have said that to me before, like, don't you know your crystals are not supposed to touch? And I was like, well, that's impossible. Okay. Sorry. Any specific stones that are calming? Again, agates, chalcedonies, and jaspers are all very calming. Is it true that citrine and some other crystals don't need to be cleansed because they don't pick up? Yes, that is true. Citrine, selenite, kyanite are some of the ones that I know about that don't hold on to negative energy. Kyanite is probably the only black stone that doesn't hold on to negative energy that I know of. And they do like to be charged, though. They do like to be taken care of. So while they won't pick up or hold on to negative energy, it's still nice to like treat them well, I guess is the way to say it. Can you elaborate a little on Dreamwork? I have recently started sleeping with an amethyst crystal and have found my dreams to be especially vivid. Should I keep a journal? Yeah, you could totally keep a journal. That's a really good idea for Dreamwork. You can meditate into dreaming, like meditate with the intention of falling asleep and then pretend having maybe some like astral traveling type of dreams, or with like an intention of some kind, like you want to like do something or do some work in your dream, or get an answer to something, or be open to a message or something of that sort. But those are all good ideas for dream work, definitely. Thank you guys. Thank you for the kind words. You don't really cut cords with Reiki. Like most of the time it's like an angelic kind of thing, or an intention thing, or even like shaman work is more about that. We certainly do it in Reiki, but I don't, when I see cutting cords, like I don't typically see like me like slicing things up with Reiki. More of it's like some type of like angelic-y sword. I don't know, it's kind of complicated. That would be more for like a somebody who is like getting taught Reiki, you know, but I don't really see the Reiki point of it to be what cuts the cords. That's my feelings on it. My question got lost in the comments. Do you make custom necklaces besides the one you have online? Yes. That's probably like the most popular option of necklaces for me, which is why like I don't have shop updates that often. Like I did around the holidays, but I don't do them that often because I pretty much have a consistent stream of custom necklace orders coming in, and each one takes time. So when someone orders a custom necklace, there's a form that comes up so you can specify what you want if you know, or tell me about what you want in terms of like what benefits you would like the stone to have if you don't know the stone that you want. And it's probably better to leave it open a little bit, like a clear, like a rose quartz, something that's like easy to get my hands on is certainly fine to ask for. But if it's like something complicated, I might not be able to do that. You know, there's a lot of different minerals, so I can't say that like I have access to every single mineral that there is, but I can definitely find one for you that goes good for what you're looking to bring into your life or looking for some assistance with. Or you can have an option to just let me meditate on your energy and choose what I feel like would be best for you at this time in your life. So we usually like have some communication with the people that order them, like just a little bit, just to talk about if I have any questions or anything that like would help me to like be more focused on what they're asking for, or give them some advice if there's something that I, you know, I'm drawn to like let them know or suggest that maybe they look into or something like that. But then it takes me, you know, I could take 2 weeks to make the necklace because I already have ones lined up and I do it on like a first come first serve thing. But during the process of them, it's a very sacred process for me. It's meditative. I have a lot of elements going on in my atmosphere when I'm making them. I'll have some like mantras that might go along with like what they're looking for, or just ones that I feel might be helpful. And just like, I don't know, it's like a very sacred thing, and I take my time, and I have like intentions I put into all the knots, because they're basically all made out of knots, and charging the stone and stuff. So anyway, yeah, I do have the custom thing listed on there. Okay. All right, I think we're good. All right, so hopefully I said the whole thing in the beginning that I wanted to talk about how you can use clear quartz points as little batteries or USB drives, and it becomes a way for you to bring the attention into where what your energy is doing, what might be bubbling up or like driving you crazy, how you can better utilize it or like let it go, even if it was bad energy, like you were very angry and you were like, oh, I have to get this like anger out, or whatever, something like that. You can put it into that and then cleanse the stone too, so that it cleanses and deals with the negative energy. If you wanted to do something like that, that's certainly okay too. But in general, I like the whole idea of like using them for like another time, and it just the awareness that you do when you're setting an intention to do that, to put it here, save it for later. Oh, now I'm feeling better. Actually, I'd like to tap back into that. Let me put it over here, that kind of thing. So hopefully that makes some kind of sense. I'm going to go make myself some lunch, and I hope that you guys have a great day on this, if you're where I am at all, snowy day. I'm just going to check the comments. You don't have to clean kyanite. You just have to charge it, let it sit in the sun or the moonlight or something, or sound even. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.